Moving right along. Last thing we'll cover in any real substance is going to be substance. If anyone wants to talk about like the live album or whatever, they can, but I haven't heard it, so I'm not sure. So substance. Um, don't really love it a lot. There's a lot of like throwaway tracks on here to me. Um, there's some good stuff that I dig, but a lot of it is just kind of to me. So track by track, Warsaw. It's not a bad punk track. Has a simple riff. Leaders of Men kind of to me. Digital. Cool riff and good guitar playing. It's not a bad song, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's kind of short. Auto suggestion is kind of a bit boring to me, a little meandering. Transmission, it's a fine track. It's simple, but it has a really great swell to it. Dance, dance, dance to radio. She's Lost Control. This is like a different mix. It's cool. It's a little more chunky, but it doesn't really beat the original in every single way. Incubation, not bad. Interesting little kind of instrumental track. Dead Souls, kind of oddly bright in contrast to some of the other tracks. It's not really a favorite of mine. Atmosphere, really great kind of swelling track. Like I said, one of the more cinematic ones. Got the classic vanilla version of Love Will Tear Us Apart. It's my personal favorite, although I prefer the 1995 permanent mix. No Love Lost. Okay, punk track, not a fan. Failures, a little more of an intense punk track, still not really a favorite. Glass, it's kind of forgettable to me. From Safety to Wear, kind of feels like a I Remember Nothing or New Dawn Fades kind of B-side. It's okay. Novelty has really cool production, but the drum tone's a little too abrasive for me. Komakino, Closer, Throwaway. It's not bad. It's okay. Um, as you said, it's like a weird little instrumental. These days, another one that's kind of forgettable, and then there's another mix of Love Will Tear Us Apart, and it's one of my least favorite mixes on there. So there's only like a small handful of things I enjoy on this, and the rest just kind of feels sort of like throwaways to me that just weren't as interesting as the stuff on their first two albums, at least to me anyway. So, Buckeye Keys, what do you think about Substance?
Yeah, I think it's really cool to see into what they didn't think would fit
Yeah,
Unknown Pleasures or Closer,
yeah,
because I, I mean, I think like Dead Souls and No Love Lost, I mean, they might be two of my favorite Joy Division songs. And I mean, thinking of where you would place them on their two EPs, like it's hard to think of where they would fit. But yeah, I agree with what you said about there being some throwaways.
hmm
Like I mean, I like all of the tracks generally, but um, I think half are like miles better than the lower half.
oh yeah,
Yeah, so like Dead Souls, No Love Lost, Atmosphere, obviously, Love Will Tear Us Apart. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. Just a lot of good singles that I guess wouldn't, or at least they didn't think would fit
right,
completely on the two EPs. Yeah.
totally. Gran, what do you think about Substance?
This is pretty great. I feel like this compilation works so well because it's less of like a greatest hits compilation, more of just like a really cool abridged like version of like the transformation from like this early punk Sex Pistols esque UK group to this very cathartic goth post punk group, and yeah, it's a good compilation, man. I love the early like Warsaw stuff. I love the. I think the An Ideal for Living is a very good like little appetizer for what you'd get on Unreal Pleasures. The I've heard the EPs that Digital and Auto Suggestion comes from, and they're definitely the two better tracks off of both EPs. So I do like those like little quote unquote filler throwaway tracks because it's just it's a good it's an okay song from a good band. so it's not terrible. Um, this version of She's Lost Control is okay, I guess. Well, actually, no. I actually kind of like it. It's interesting.
Hmm.
I don't have much to say about this, honestly. It's just a really good compilation.
Fair enough. Cool. Rex, do you have anything to say about Substance?
Yeah, hi. I apologize about my dog.
No, no worries.
Will howling. It's just somebody else has left and really affects her. But I do love Substance. Actually, I think there's a lot of tracks in here that I listen to regularly.
Mm.
Just to clarify, the reason why a lot of the singles didn't end up on the album is because the band thought they were scamming potential customers by putting the singles on the albums. Because if they were to buy the albums, then we'll have to buy the singles. They weren't the smartest band in the world. But this I have no interest in sort of the Warsaw and the early Joy Division era stuff, to be honest. Some of it's a little bit interesting, like No Love Lost, but I really do think it's just a perfect example of a band that's not ready yet, to be honest.
Yeah.
And a lot of these songs are just willed on by pure power, and sometimes I can get behind that, and sometimes I can't. And in this case, I can. But there is some interesting tracks on here. Tracks like Dead Souls, which is a track that I think wouldn't have fit on either of the albums. Really, I think it's something different to what was going on Unknown Pleasures. I think it's certainly mixed differently to a lot of the songs on there. But I think it's a noteworthy track. I think I love its long intro. I love songs that take their time, and Dead Souls is really one of them. And just the emotion in Ian's voice, I think Dead Souls is probably one of his best vocal performances. And then there's Atmosphere. I think that is also one of Ian's best vocal performances. Just another song that takes its time, another song that builds layers on layers and then takes those layers off and then puts them on. And it's just, it's such a great emotional piece. It's almost like classical music in a way, is the way I see Atmosphere. It's just this piece that builds an emotion, and you could take the lyrics out and you know what Atmosphere is trying to say, and there really is no other track. I think you put it brilliantly in your reaction, in that there really is no other track that you could use for a scene detailing Ian's suicide. It just is the perfect track for that. Love Will Tear Us Apart, obviously their most known song. Just a track I love, really. It's of the it's a much older track than a lot of people realise. Love Will Tear Us Apart. It was conceived in mid 1979, so it's not of the ceremony in a Lonely Place school. It is earlier than that, but it did go through a lot of changes before it eventually got to where it is. It became this just obsession of Martin Hannett to get Love Will Tear Us Apart right, to the annoyance of the bands. But yeah. There's a lot of tracks that I like on here that are less known. Tracks like Glass, which is either about sex or drugs or murdering somebody. I can never quite tell, but I think it's just brilliant. I think this is another just incredible vocal performance from Ian. Tracks like Failures, which I think is just another just a worthwhile track. Comachino, I can understand why it was left off Closer, but I think it's a brilliant track in itself. Novelty, yeah, just toward the entire sort of last segment of Substance really just filled with just really great tracks. It makes you realise just how brilliant Joy Division were by the end, because they were making they were dishing out just great track after great track, and they were just throwaway tracks. I mean, Atmosphere was originally only released in France, and they basically just threw away that track because it sold only about 100 copies, and they could do that. And I think Peter Hook describes it well in saying that they were madmen, really, because they weren't businessmen. They didn't really know what to do with these tracks, but they were creating gold and throwing it away. And luckily we can all listen to it now. But it just shows the strength of the band, I think. And obviously Love Will Tear Us Apart 2. I think you said in your reaction that this will be the perfect final track for the band, because it is just so hopeless, which I agree with. It's the flattest delivery Ian's done yet.
Yeah.
The instrumentals don't sound up for it. It just sounds like they all just want to go home, really. And I love it in that sense, but it's not one I listen to regularly. I do think it is the worst mix of the song, and I think that's probably intentional. I think it's trying to do something else. Maybe in a lot of ways, Hannett worried that Love Will Tear Us Apart was perhaps too much in a pop direction for Joy Division's listeners, so he made this version as maybe a fail-safe. But I'm glad we have the version we do.
Was this the last thing that Ian Curtis recorded, or was it a different song?
I think the last thing Ian Curtis recorded was the second She's Lost Control mix.
Okay.
I think that's either one of the last ones or the last ones. I know that they never recorded In a Lonely Place or Ceremony. I don't think Love Will Tear Us Apart 2 is. I'm pretty sure that was recorded around the same time the normal version was.
I do remember it was like a re-recording of a song, but I just didn't know which one it was.
But overall, just a great collection of songs from just a band that could make these songs and just throw them away, and they're brilliant. It really just shows the strength of the band, and just I will listen to Substance regularly, and it's just great. Yeah, thank you.
Cool, thank you.
I had no idea that the reason why singles like Transmission didn't make it onto the album because of that whole idea that they were scamming their listener. Because I remember reading that like the Beatles did something similar, and honestly, it kind of worked out for them because it gave this individual singles like as much of a like staying power as their albums. So it's interesting that they'd even think that Joy Division, because if Transmission was featured on Unknown Pleasures, it would be like one of the best songs on there easily.
Yeah,
I don't think it would have fit, to be honest, but I understand what you mean. Yeah.
I feel like it's close to like a shadow play. I feel, which is why I think it fits.
I get this really like I don't mean the genre, but like this industrial kind of like urban kind of culture vibe from Unknown Pleasures. Like I said, like Closer like gives me this like crypt gothic tomb kind of vibe, but like with Unknown Pleasures it feels like sprawling bleak cities and stuff like that. And so tracks like Digital or Transmission, like when I hear those tracks I think more of like that same vein that Unknown Pleasures was in. Those kind of go together for me in my head at least. But Minto, what do you think about Substance?
But before I get into the music, I just want to say I don't know, like, what is up with all these British bands and having a bunch of non-album singles? Like, I don't get it. And it's like going on for decades. Like, I swear, name any like iconic British band, all of them got like a laundry list of non-album singles that like I don't get it. I don't know. But anyway, because of what?
Because America. Commercialize everything, man.
This is true. This is very true. But anyway, going on to Substance, it doesn't feel, I know it's not an album, but like it doesn't feel like an album to me. So I guess that adds to its benefit because like I'm not concerned about like flow and structure because this has no flow, no structure. So I basically just look at it as a bunch of songs. Like it feels like a playlist, just a bunch of songs. Mm-hmm. And for that, I'm more forgiving on it. So I'm not really going to judge this as a cohesive experience. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, this is a great album because it's not an album.
Right.
I'm just going to talk about songs. I'm not going to talk too much about the New Order Substance, but if we're talking about which Substance is better, I prefer the New Order Substance.
Likewise.
Because, the songs are, I don't know, they have better songs in there. Well, not better, but more great songs because this Substance has duds. I don't feel like the New Order Substance has that many duds. And it feels more cohesive, the New Order one. It feels more like a listening experience, while this one just feels like a bunch of mashed together songs that have no real cohesion together.
Yeah.
But in terms of this Substance, like, again, it's a mixed bag, but there's definitely more good than bad. Like, the good songs in here are some of the best songs they've ever made. And the worst songs in here are kind of average and like my least favorite songs by them. So it's a really inconsistent bag. To go on with the Warsaw stuff, you know, the 4-track EP, An Ideal for Living, which is not the only Warsaw stuff that was recorded. There's actually more Warsaw stuff. I doubt you guys have heard it though, so I'm not going to talk about it. But
yeah, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, they actually did a session for RCA Records. They were actually going to sign to that, but their manager was like, they, you know, pulled the strings to get them on Factory, but which is the right move, I feel. But anyway, going on to the Ideal for Living, it's fine. That's basically how I feel. It's not bad. It's not that great either. I feel like it depends on how much you like it, depending on how much you like, you know, British punk of that time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're like a massive fanatic of like Sex Pistols and like early Clash and like the Damned, like I could see you really, really getting into this. But if you're somebody like me who's like, I like that stuff and I appreciate it, especially, you know, the influence it had on post-punk, but it's not something I listen to regularly. Like, it's not something I wouldn't choose to listen to like the first Clash album over like, I don't know, Joy Division's first album, you know?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So that stuff, and plus like Joy Division don't add, like Warsaw I should say, don't add anything original to it. Like Ian Curtis's voice is like almost unrecognizable, like, and like it's not like, it's hard to believe that like, and Warsaw stuff was not recorded long before Unknown Pleasures, and it's like crazy to think how different of a band they were.
Totally.
And it's especially strange to think like the guys that recorded this kind of average like punk album, punk EP, you know, in the style of 70s British punk bands, would go on to make the synth pop of New Order.
Yeah.
Like, it's just crazy to think about. And it's actually kind of like one of the things I love in music is just how far artists can go in evolving. But yeah, it's not bad. I don't think it's particularly that great either. None of the songs I think would make even like top 15 Joy Division songs, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good stuff. I recommend it, not only if you're a massive Joy Division fan, but also just like you want more of the 70s British punk style of that time. Anyway, on to the real Joy Division tracks. Digital, I think, is like the first Joy Division song. Like, it's the first song I listened to by them where I'm like, yeah, this is the Joy Division I know and love. Fantastic bass line. Bernard Sumner's guitar playing is great. You know, I love the hit it, fade out, fade it. I love that vocal performance so much. I don't know, it's just like the way it gets progressively like more animated as Ian goes on. I love it. There's a lot of other fantastic tracks. Of course, Transmission. Although my favorite version of Transmission is the one they did on I think the program's Something Else. I don't know. It's the
same performance where they did like She's Lost Control, right?
Yeah, that one. That's my favorite version of Transmission. And if you look, you could hear it in the song too. But if you look at the video, I don't think I've talked about Steven's drumming like that. But like, if you look at the video, he's a drum machine. He's going and he doesn't stop once.
No.
You look at the video, he doesn't stop once.
You think his arms would be like, his biceps would just be massive, but he's just this scrawny little English guy.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, but it's amazing. And obviously Peter Hook, his bass playing. For one, he's my favorite bassist of all time. And I feel like he's the most distinct bass player I've heard. Because I feel like when you listen to Peter Hook, like no matter what kind of song it is, you could tell it's Peter Hook. Like,
oh yeah, the
Gorillaz track that dropped last year.
Yeah,
you know, where he's on it. Like, I didn't even have to look to see if Peter Hook is on it. I'm like, I heard the bass on it, and I'm like, yeah, that's Peter Hook.
Yep.
It's so distinct, and I love it. It really gives Joy Division that unique sound that they had. Yeah, fantastic song, Transmission, and I love the dance, 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 dance to the radio. Like, I don't know, it's like, and I feel like with this song and Digital, like the lyrics feel electronic. It doesn't. It feels like like something a robot would like say, or like a computer would say.
Hmm.
Like, you know, in electronic music, like, you know how like a lot of electronic artists, they have like a very repetitive lyrics, and it's like very like code like,
Yeah.
and that's what it feels like to me, and I think that's great. So Atmosphere and Dead Souls, you know, I'll just start with Dead Souls. Fantastic song. I don't have too much to say about it because I feel like it's great for the same reasons like other Joy Division songs are great. So yeah, great song. Atmosphere though is probably my second favorite song by them, and it's absolutely soul crushing. I don't know. It's just every time that it feels very like wintry to
Hmm.
me. It feels like something that like it's definitely great music to listen to in like the cold and like the winter and stuff. And it has so much emotional weight. Like that's a song I genuinely would to play at my funeral.
Oh yeah.
And then of course Love Will Tear Us Apart, which has like so many different mixes to it and like so many different versions. Like it's hard to like pin down like necessarily the right one, but I don't know. I'll be safe and just say the original is probably my favorite. Although, Alex, when you talked about the 95 permanent mix, like, I didn't actually listen to it before then, but I listened to it and I'm like, it's great. And I especially love, like, at the outro of the song, you could hear the acoustic guitar.
Dude, it's the best
Like,
part.
I love that. I don't know if that's my favorite version of the song, but that version at the end where you could hear the acoustic guitar in the mix might be my favorite version, like my favorite moment in the song.
Oh yeah, I'm right there with you.
I don't know, and obviously the lyrics are fantastic and you could feel what he sings. I hear a lot of people say it's his most personal song, which I definitely get. There's a reason it's their most iconic moment. I feel like it's definitely, oh my god, it says Joy Division on tour. No, but it definitely, like, I don't know, it could be, you can make a case for it being their best song. Like, it's just genuinely one of the best songs of the 80s and all time. Like, I'm glad it's their most iconic, even though it's not personally my favorite Joy Division song.
Sure.
Everything else, though, it's like, well, I wouldn't say everything else, but like most of the other things, like besides the highlights that I just mentioned, everything else is either just like, I don't know, pretty good or just like really mediocre.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Like, again, that's why I say Substance doesn't feel like an album, because it's just like something I go to because I'm in the mood to hear specific songs rather than just listen to the entire thing. Like the same way I would for maybe New Order Substance, or like, I don't know, another compilation like Hatful of Hollow or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Like those definitely feel more like an album. Like I'd listen to it in one sitting in full. Whereas this, I'm just like, why would I want to listen to Incubation in the same time as Love Will Tear Us Apart when
Yeah.
I could just listen to Love Will Tear Us Apart?
Exactly.
Yeah. So Substance is like, it's great because there's great songs. Sorry, it's my sister.
It's all good.
If you could hear her, but in short, yeah, Substance, good stuff.
Cool. Awesome.
Good stuff.
Thank
But it not cohesive. That's one thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
1977 to like 79 was like a very interesting like change of pace for punk. Like, because I heard you talking about like just how much Joy Division changed in such a short amount of time. Like that could be said to like so many bands, and it makes sense given just like the innovations to like production and like rock aesthetic that was happening at the time. So yeah, it's definitely crazy to think about just how much Joy Division changed.
Totally. Sponge, anything to say about Substance?
I think it's most of the songs on it are pretty alright. Some of them are a lot higher than others, but it's not a really. I don't really like to listen to this compilation. I just can't really stand how bad the flow is. I'd just rather listen to the singles or the Ideal for Living EP.
Yeah.
Which is really good, to be honest. I really enjoy that EP, even though it's like 10 minutes, isn't it?
Like
15
I
minutes?
think it's like 7 minutes or something.
Is it?
I don't.
dang.
I could be wrong. I mean,
It's the 12 minutes.
12 minutes. That's right.
Oh, yeah. I feel like a lot of their early stuff is quite overlooked, but it's very inaccessible. So I can see why it is overlooked, because it's not on. Is it on streaming platforms? I don't think it is.
Well, I mean,
I
the
doubt.
Substance, the Joy Division
The
Substance
songs
is.
are the songs like from Ideal for Living are on Substance, but like it's not its own separate Ideal for Living EP section on Spotify.
Oh.
But the
Oh,
songs are all there, yeah.
Oh, okay. But then you also go into like songs like Atmosphere, which is I think probably one of, if not the best song in Joy Division's library, along with like Transmission and Dead Souls, which are all like crisp 10 out of 10 songs, especially Atmosphere. I can't see any way of them improving that. It's just so tear-jerking and so smooth. It's perfect. Yeah.
Cool. Very nice. Boss, anything to say about Substance?
I actually listened to this yesterday
Whoa.
for the first time. I said, ooh, I kind of forgot about that compilation. I should listen to that. And I listened to it. I said, okay, this is pretty good. There's no cohesion. It's just tracks.
Right.
Which, you know, that's the point of a compilation. But, like, other compilations I've heard at least try to stick, like,
To a
okay,
tone.
it's going chronologically, or there's like, yeah, or there's certain like groups or sections that you can order everything into. I actually, is it what's like the punk stuff on here? Because I remember there's clearly stuff that sounded like punk near like the beginning, and I was like, this is not good.
Yeah,
in my
it's
opinion.
it's Warsaw,
Is that
Leaders of Men.
okay?
Leaders of Men. I gotta think what else.
No Love Lost and Failures. Is that right?
Yeah, No Love Lost. Yeah, Failure. Yeah, those four.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the punk stuff.
I did not like those as a punk fan. It's not like I.
Oh, so you're a
dislike
fan
UK
of that
punk.
70s punk style?
It depends. I do obviously think I prefer like punk stuff that was going on in the United States, but I mean obviously you need that late 70s stuff in the UK. That's it's essential for just where punk would be going.
Yeah.
I think it's just because it's so polarizing. I think that's the only reason I don't like it. It's not necessarily like bad. It's just like this is weird. I think my favorite stuff's like in the middle. Like, here, give me a second. Let me find the track listing. Probably Incubation, Dead Souls, Atmosphere, and Love Will Tear Us Apart are just like all amazing songs. Even though they're all from different places, the flow is pretty good for that little set. And all of them are just amazing for completely different reasons.
Right.
I do love Incubation as a awesome instrumental. I'm just a sucker for instrumental songs, especially on compilations like this. But overall, it's really good. I'd recommend, like, obviously, if you're gonna listen to Joy Division, to listen to it, like fill in the gaps. But it's like maybe it's because it's been like a month since I listened to Joy Division. I was like, I just need to listen to this, but it was good.
Very nice. Cool. Well, I got a
Surprised.
What?
Most of you say there's like little to no cohesion, because I hear like an okay amount, to be honest. Because like I said before, it's like less of a greatest hits compilation and just like this transformation from this one sound to the next that I find really compelling. And it's only like 10 tracks long, so it's not that much to complain about, I feel.
Cool. So I have to split in a few minutes. So if anyone has something like quick to say about Still, if you've heard it or not, go ahead.
Poggers.
So in my opinion, it's terrible, to be honest. There's not a lot you can really do with. We are very lucky with Joy Division because we do have a lot of live recordings, not just live recordings, but footage of the band as well. But just to sum it up, basically, Still is really only valuable for the ceremony recording. It's not even close to their best live performance. The best live performance is Preston. So yeah, I would only really use it for the ceremony live recording. I believe it does also have some individual songs on there that are on other things as well. So yeah, not brilliant in my opinion.
Fair enough.
I like Still.
Fair enough.
I've heard Still as well. The first two sides I think is really great. I love the cold and chill atmosphere of it. It's like it's literally an ice age, that cold sounding. The live section, it's okay. Kind of brings it down for me. I prefer Substance to it. But their performance of Sister Ray, like, it's not like the best performance in the world, but it feels weird to think about. Like Joy Division covering Velvet Underground, what the fuck?
I know.
Sister Ray is also very good.
strange.
Sister Ray is a great track. I love that song so much. But their version is like, it's a live version, I guess,
Yeah, there you go. Anyone have anything else to say about Still? Are we good? I think we're good. Oh, Minty.
I've heard it, but I have like not much to say about it. I've heard it though. I will say it's great that we have the ceremony recording, even though the recording is horrid. Like the quality of it, and I don't really like their performance of Sister Ray that much. That's it.
Fair enough. All right. Well, that wraps up Joy Division, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me on this expedition. Like Buckeye said, New Order is going to have to be in 2 parts. I thought this was going to be a short one, and it might be one of the longer ones we've done. It's hard to say, but thank you guys so much. I'm gonna just go ahead and like disconnect from the chat, and then I'll do like a little outro for the video. But thanks for sticking around, guys. I'll catch you around.
Hell yeah. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
These next few discussions should
Bye,
be
people.
epic.
It will be. And that is the Joy Division discussion. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you later. Godspeed.